Hello, third graders. This is Mr. Arneson with this upcoming week's art project. It's going to involve being outside a little bit, and I know it's getting cold, and I may have waited just a little bit too long for us to do this one, but I just found it on the internet, thought it was a really cool thing, tried it, it's kind of fun, so I want to do it with you. You're going to have to go outside, and you're going to have to get yourself some leaves. So try to find some leaves from all different kinds of trees if you can. If you can't find a whole bunch of different kinds of leaves, that's okay. But get yourself some leaves. You're going to need about 10 to 12 leaves. And it's chilly out, and I've got shorts on, don't ask why. And we're going to do a leaf printing project. And it's going to be, I think it's cool. It looks neat. You'll see it in a minute. All right, take care. Third graders, as you color your leaves, you can choose any colors you wish. Make sure your markers are nice and juicy though. Okay, so you could use traditional colors of our fall leaves like yellows, reds, oranges, or you might even throw in some blues and purples. That is entirely up to you. Please observe how I am doing my leaves or how I am coloring my leaves. Please don't scratch back and forth because that will make your leaves most likely tear. Now, this does take a little while, so I'm gonna go through a time lapse with this. It does not matter if your leaves dry, so don't worry about the ink drying because we're going to get those leaves wet and they are going to print for us whether they're dry or not. So bear with me, follow along, and we'll get going. Okay, welcome back. We're going to take our marker colored leaves, put those aside for right now. One thing I didn't mention is you will need a little bit of water. You will want to take a napkin and get it wet. You don't want it dripping wet though, because we don't want to make a mess on our grown-ups tables or on anything that you value, but you do want it to be wet. So not dripping, but wet. So don't squeeze out all the water, but as long as it's not dripping. This is where if you have a table you can work on and get a little wet, that's good. If you don't have a table that you can work on and get a little wet, you might want to see if your grown-ups have a cake pan like this or a cookie sheet that's got edges. Okay, I'm going to use the cookie sheet that's got edges. I'm going to take that white piece of paper I set aside that I was going to use for my printing, and I'm going to use my napkin, my wet napkin, not dripping though, and I'm just going to get that paper wet. So I'm going to rub it down and get it wet. Now it's going to want to curl up a little bit, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to let that get wet, and I'm going to let that sit for just a minute. And then I'm going to start to do my prints. So I'm only going to do 1 or 2 prints here because I want to make sure that we get going here because I know that we're all kind of pressed for time here. Oop. And so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of my leaves. I'm going to turn it upside down so the ink is facing the paper. I'll put that leaf down. Then I'm going to take my scrap piece of paper that I'm going to use for kind of for patting it down. And I'm going to rub that leaf underneath the paper, just like that. When I'm done rubbing it, I'm going to pick this piece of paper up and I'm going to pick up my leaf. Then I'm going to grab another leaf that I have. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put this piece of paper down on top of that leaf. This will keep your hands clean as well, or a little bit. And I'm just going to do that for all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw a time lapse up here so that you can see them all print. Please make sure you don't have puddles of water on your paper. It should just be damp.